Alright, page 178, splitting regions in the timeline. Previously, you split a region in the audio editor. In this exercise, you'll split a region in the timeline using the playhead and a keyboard shortcut, Command T. You can also split multi-take regions in the editor, but since you've already done that, you can just use the editor as a guide for positioning the playhead. First, since you'll be splitting the region in the timeline, let's zoom in a bit to make it easier to work. Number 1 on page 178. Press return, then zoom in to the timeline until the right edge of the multi-take region almost touches the notepad. Make sure that both the timeline and audio editor catch buttons are turned on or blue. So that's a catch button. That's a catch button. They're both blue. So we need to return to 0 to make sure our playhead goes back to 0. So I'm going to press return. Let me click on it. Press return. Next thing I need to do, I need to make sure that this goes all the way over to here. So we need to zoom in so it blows that up quite a bit. Zooming in. That looks like that's as good as it's going to get for me. Number 2 on page 179. Play the project. Stop playback after Tina says, keeping all at bay, around 17 seconds in the timeline ruler. Well, I'm not going to go ahead and play it. I'm just going to move it to save time to about 16, and then I'm going to listen. That was about it right there. Let me scoot back a little bit to 15.
Keeping all at bay.
All at bay. And I stopped it right there. Number 3, it says look at the playhead position in the audio editor. The playhead should be somewhere in the silent section of the region between 16 seconds and 17 seconds. That's around 16 and 15 milliseconds in the LCD display. If needed, move the playhead in the audio editor until it is over the silent editor. Well, mine's already over the silent area. This one's over the silent area. We are good. Number 4 on page 179. Click the empty track in the tracks area to deselect all regions. Okay, there we go. I just clicked an empty space. It says then select the multi-take region you want to edit. Why deselect before selecting? Because chances are that the duplicate backup region or another region was also selected, and you would have edited more than one region at a time. Safety first. Once you've selected the multi-take region, press Command T or choose Edit Split Regions at Playhead. So here's the multi-take region. I'm going to select it. I'm going to press Command T and it's going to split the region in half. So now I have a region to the right and to the left. We just cut it. We scissored it, if you will. Moving over to page 180. There are now 2 multi-take regions in the track. Both regions are still showing take 1. Number 5, change the second region to take 3. All right. Rename region. All I needed to do is, actually, we got to, never mind, we got to go ahead and select take 3. We're not renaming, we are changing that to take 3. My fault. And then page 180, number 6, it says play the edit between regions to hear how they sound together. Okay, so just want to make sure that it doesn't sound all funky. So I backed this up a little bit. If it helps you out, you can use the editor down here to back it up. So let's listen.
All at bay. Fineness and sharp.
Oh, do you hear that?
All at bay. Fineness and.
We've cut off a little bit of that word. Number 6, it says, yikes, you can hear Tina repeat the same line at the end of the first region and the beginning of the second region. Welcome to the world of dialogue editing. Time-based recordings don't use a click track, beats, or measures to keep time, so it's rare that spoken words perfectly line up in a multi-take region. You're going to need to trim off the beginning of take 3 region so that it starts at 20 seconds. You can trim directly in the timeline. So here we go. Moving this to 20 seconds. Since this is selected right here, I know that if I press Command T, we're going to split this region. It's highlighted. There's a yellow bar at the top. If I deselect it, if I press Command T now, nothing will happen. So I'm going to select it, press Command T, and it's going to be split. Number 7 on page 180. In either the audio editor or timeline, try dragging the lower left edge of take 3 region toward the right to trim the beginning of the region so that it starts at 20 seconds. It didn't work? Well, that's because you can only trim the right edge of the multi-track region, so you can't use the marquee tool either. Thus, you've discovered that the editing disadvantage of working with multi-take regions. You can, as you already know, split the region in the timeline, so let's do that, and that's exactly what I did. Number 8, select the take 3 multi-take region and move the playhead to 20 seconds. Press Command T to split the region at the playhead position, and that has been done. Move into page 181, number 9. Select the small take 3 region that you just created and press delete. So right now, the one to the right is highlighted. That one's selected. We don't want that. We want this one. I'm going to press delete, and it is gone. The unwanted portion of take 3 is now out of the way. Number 10. In the timeline, drag the remaining take 3 region to the left until it's close to the end of take 1 in the multi-take region track. All right, moving it over. To make sure there's no gap once you've placed the region next to each other in the timeline, check the audio editor to see if there is a gap between the regions. If so, drag the upper half of the take 3 region to the left as needed until the regions touch. Well, let's look at it. No gap. They're touching. We are good. In the audio editor, swipe the visible area and adjust the horizontal zoom as needed to see the space between the multi-take regions. So if I really wanted to get down to the nitty-gritty, I could put my playhead here and I could zoom in. You see there's a tiny, tiny bit right there that it doesn't overlap. So I'm gonna go ahead and zoom out a bit and see if we can get that moved over, and it's not working. Let me listen, see if there's any noticeable gap.
Sharp barbs keeping all at bay.
No, you can't even hear it. You can't even hear it. Moving over to page 182. Now you can see how both the timeline and audio editor can be used together to edit and move a region. So number 11, it says play the project from 10 seconds to 20 seconds to hear the edit. It sounds okay, but the pause may be too long before Tina starts the next stanza, nor be a fragrant rose. We won't know until we play the final edit with the music and hear it all in context. Number 12, play the take 3 region and pause after Tina says sweet baby's breath around 28 seconds. Make sure the take 3 region is selected, then press Command T to split the region. So let me go ahead and put this up to about 28 seconds. I'm going to go a little bit before. We are listening to Sweet Baby's Breath.
To baby's breath.
All right, I stopped it right afterwards. I'm going to press Command T to split. Oh, but hang on. I don't have it selected, so let me select it. Command T to split. Now we've split both of those regions. It says change the new take 3 region to take 2 and listen to the edit. So coming up here to where it has a number 3, clicking on that, moving it to take 2. It says listen to the edit. Here we go.
Sweet baby's breath. Yet, in that
Oops, the take 3 region ends okay, but we cut off most of the word insignificant at the beginning of the take 2 region. Since the performance of that particular word is the whole reason we're cutting to take 2 here, we need to extend the beginning of take 2. The only way to use the trim tools on this region is to change it from a multi-take region to a single take region. And we'll stop right there and pick it up on page 183 in the next video.